exchanged between the White House and other federal officials and Facebook in particular, but also some of the other platforms. And I see that the White House and federal officials are repeatedly saying that Facebook and the federal government should be partners. We're on the same team. Officials are demanding answers. I want an answer. I want it right away. When they're unhappy, they curse them out. There are regular meetings. There is constant pestering of Facebook and some of the other platforms, and they want to have regular meetings. And they suggest, they suggest rules that should be applied, and why don't you tell us everything that you're going to do so we can help you and we can look it over. And I thought, wow, I cannot imagine federal officials taking that approach to the print media, our representatives over there. If you did that to them, what do you think the reaction would be? And so I thought, the only reason why this is taking place is because the federal government has got Section 230 and antitrust in its pocket, and it's to mix my metaphors, and it's got these big clubs available to it, and so it's treating Facebook and these other platforms like they're subordinates. Would you do that to the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or the Associated Press or any other big newspaper or wire service?
Good. That's great.
A great question, Dr. Justice.
Yeah, it is. But what did the brightest person on the court have to say yesterday about all this?
Justice Jackson?
So my biggest concern is that your view has the First Amendment hamstringing the government in significant ways in the most important time periods. What would you have the government do? I've heard you say a couple times that the government can post its own speech, but in my hypothetical, kids, this is not safe, don't do it, is not going to get it done. And so I guess some might say that the government actually has a duty to take steps to protect the citizens of this country, and you seem to be suggesting that duty cannot manifest itself in the government encouraging or even pressuring platforms to take down harmful information. So can you help me? Because I'm really worried about that.
I'm really worried about you being on the U.S. Supreme Court.
In an environment of threatening circumstances from the government's perspective, and you're saying that the government can't interact with the source of those problems.
Play the very beginning of this when she's talking about very important hamstringing the government. Listen to this again. Just go back to the
Justice
beginning.
Jackson?
So my biggest concern is that your view has the First Amendment hamstringing the government.
Okay, perfect.
In significant ways,
let me introduce you to something called the United States Constitution and the First Amendment, which is meant to do just that. It is meant as a charter of negative liberties to tell the government what it can and can't, what it actually can't do to us. It can't take away freedom of speech. It can't tell private businesses what they should and should not say, who they can and cannot have on their platforms. It can't do that. It's meant to hamstring the government. Are you that stupid? And obviously the answer is yes.
Yeah, she can define a woman. So,
that's reminiscent of Barack Obama, who was lamenting that the Constitution was a charter of negative liberties. It tells you what the government can't do.
Right, Yeah, that's exactly the point of it. It's exactly the point. He meant it in a bad way. I always mean that in a good way. It is a charter of negative liberties because you can't lay out every positive liberty and freedom we have. It would be impossible. So if you tried to do that, you would limit your freedom because you can't include everything.
So this is a landmark case. It is going to be so important. I'm not expecting a 9-0 ruling on this one, however. Based on
because the 3 liberal judges are hardcore, just the same thing that she just said. Everybody else, Sotomayor and Kagan said the same thing.
They don't understand the Constitution, that it's meant to prevent the government from trampling on us.
I can't even believe that this is a discussion in this country, much less it's going to divide the court.
Wow, that's crazy.